Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of Real Estate. I'm Brandon with the Goldberg team at Millennial Mortgages on Instagram. Today we have Blake with AQMS Moving Services, and we're going to talk about the moving industry, real estate, and what's going on today. So thanks for tuning in. I know you're the San Diego territory manager, correct, for AQMS?
Yes, sir.
Nice. So what exactly does that kind of entail?
Yeah, so basically my territory is from about San Clemente down to Mexico and basically Riverside to Mexico. And so I'm one guy down here trying to support, all of our real estate friends, anybody that's looking to move, whether it's locally, cross country, internationally, both residential as well as business moves.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned our realtor friends. We should thank John with Granite Escrow, right, for introducing us to each other practically. I think we met at one of their events.
Yeah, I think we touched a little bit about this earlier. John has been super instrumental in my growth. I met her at a networking event. She basically has put me in touch with all the right players, right? And in doing so, she's also given me an opportunity to be positioned with the people that are actually transacting on the things they're saying they're doing, right? So for example, I met you, I think it was at the Code Breaker event up at Morgan Run, which was an awesome event with her and Tracy and with Granite Escrow and just us talking inside the hallway there. We were talking about moving and we had a lot of connections. And I mean, fast forward 2 months later and here I am sitting with you, helping our friends out, so it's great.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty key just in general, like doing what you say you're gonna do. I feel like it's kind of definitely not something to be expected, and it's almost, few and far between in terms of people that do that. So it's actually been really cool to keep in touch with you and follow you on social and seeing all the things that you're doing, because, we talked about the industry, it's kind of, there's some similarities between mortgage and moving in the sense that they're kind of unscrupulous industries, and people will tell you whatever you want to hear to get the business in the door, and then we'll cross that bridge when we get there type stuff. So
I would say all of our guys take a lot of care in I mean, even simply, packing this piece here, we're going to take the time to do so. It's not just grabbing this piece and putting it in a box so we can get it from point A to point B, because we don't know that this could be a family heirloom from 100 years ago, right? Yeah. And we want to treat everything like that. We want to make sure that everything's getting from point A to point B in the fashion that we found it, right?
Yeah.
I think, earlier when we were speaking, just being able to also show people what it looks like when their things are being packaged, right? I think people think when I say, oh, would you like us to pack your things at your home? They're understanding, well, I can't take care of all my bigger belongings. Well, part of our service is blanket wrapping all the bigger belongings and getting those protected and secured to get from point A to point B. There's no additional charge to that. As far as like packing the things in their home, we're happy to help, whether it's the breakables in the kitchen, there's a curio cabinet with family heirlooms, whatever it might be. And it could be simply grabbing all the books that are, on the bookshelf and putting those in a box, making sure those get from point A to point B as well. So whatever it is in the home, it's very important to us to make sure that we're seeing that full move through.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a big part of what you guys do aside from just moving, right? You guys do a lot of packing as well.
We do. So whether that's packing, like I just said, maybe just the kitchen or the entire home, or maybe you've accumulated a lot of things over your 20 years of living in a home and you have boxes on boxes, things all over the place in the garage, right? And it's overwhelming at times for people. Our crew will come in and make sure everything's dialed in, ready to move. When I say dialed in, everything put in a nice box, making sure that it's protected. And it's a good time also for real estate agents to let their clients know, and for me to let the clients know, it might be a good time to purge, right? It's always good to kind of like start fresh. You're maybe getting into your forever home or the home that you've been looking forward to moving to, and let's start fresh. We don't need to bring the stuff from 1980 with us, or whatever it might be.
Right. Yeah, it is a good opportunity, and I think probably a benefit that comes with having like professional packers versus when we do it. Like This is so unfortunate. I don't know for what reason this is, but all my friends seem to think that I'm the ideal person to go to if they need help moving. And I can't tell you how many times I go to somebody's house to help them move, like the boxes aren't even taped, nothing's labeled. So then we get, even, dealing with all that, and then we get to where we're going, we don't know where to put the boxes and all the things. It really adds to the time that it takes to move, and that plays a role in the cost, right? So if you have it really well organized the way you guys do it, then there's a huge cost savings just there in the time that it takes to unload and place the belongings where they're headed.
Definitely, yeah, especially on our local jobs, right? They're hourly jobs. So if the things are clearly labeled, this is bedroom 1, bedroom 2, bedroom 3, living room, den, garage, whatever it might be, as those things are coming off the truck, each of our guys that are moving those things off the truck, sometimes we have upwards of 5 guys on a job. So you don't want each of those guys to ask the homeowner every time a box is coming off the truck, hey, where does this go? We're able to move it and stage it in each of those rooms, right? So definitely to answer your question, it does save a lot of time. And one of the things that we really truly pride ourselves in is on moving day, coming into the home, we'll inventory each of the items. There'll be a numbered sticker for each of those items. So this table's number 1, that book's number 2. And as we move through the home, we're able to kind of look at it as well and see, okay, well, there's a scratch right there. So we're marking that down, right? So that we're both in compliance that, there is that scratch, so when it's getting from point A to point B. And now when the things come off the truck, you've already signed off on all of the items that left your home. Yeah. And now they're coming off the truck, you can clearly just check it off, it's coming off the truck.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with things, they just go missing. And I feel like that sounds pretty rare in the moving industry. I've moved a few times, and I've seen people pretty much just come in, grab whatever I got, throw it in the truck, and and then we get where we're going, and then they throw it in the entryway of the house and have a good day. That's kind of how it's been. I know, you kind of got. How long ago did you get in the moving industry?
I just started back in June. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, it seems like you've been doing it forever. You've got, and I think one thing I wanted to touch on is just, you were talking about, okay, an owner, a person who's moving, they don't have to, sit there and tell you each place, okay, yeah, put this thing on. You really roll out the red carpet for people with some of the, the experience that you set up for people. And I don't want to, I feel like some of the things you do are kind of surprises on move days, so I don't want to, give away everything. But just if you could speak to a little bit about how, you do roll out that red carpet to kind of make the experience smooth and seamless and hands off, really, for the people who are moving.
Yeah, I would tell you this. I was having a great conversation with one of my good friends and mentors the other day, and we were talking about, what does set you apart? And to your question, for me, in my last 2 previous jobs, I worked for Deepak Chopra for many years, and I also worked at the Bridges Country Club in Rancho Santa Fe. In my work history, being at both of those places set me up head and shoulders apart from anybody. And the reason why is because I had on-the-job training where all of our guests, whether they were at the Chopra Center or our members that were at the Bridges Country Club, their expectations are up here.
Totally.
Okay? One thing I pride myself in is understanding that, hey, when Brandon shows up to the club, he likes his coffee, with 2 sugars and some cream. And it sounds interesting, but when I can anticipate those needs, it's unbelievable. So I've tried to transfer both of those experiences into this moving. And, I'm asking very pointed questions, but as far as the moving day goes and rolling out that red carpet, it's an opportunity for me to showcase what our company is, number 1. Number 2, everybody to me is special, right? I've gained their business, and I'm super grateful for that. Just making sure everyone's taken care of. The moving day is the most stressful day in the world. I mean, life, death, taxes, and moving, right? How can I support your day being a little less stressful? You probably forget to eat because you're so caught up in your move. And if I can just bring you a little something to kind of make your day go by a little better, it's great. And for me, I always try to pride myself, and I know that I'm not going to be able to always do this, but when I do have the opportunity to, I will show up on your moving day. I will show up on your delivery day to make sure that everything's been seen through. It's not like, hey, thanks for signing this DocuSign. Now, thanks for paying our company to do this service, and you're going to see me never.
Right.
No, I think what we talked about earlier, it's very much a referral-based business, right?
Totally.
Whether that's me helping a real estate agent and supporting their clients, whether those clients that were now sent to me want to send me their brother, sister, cousin, their neighbor, everybody to come work for me with me as well.
Yeah.
Pulling out that red carpet for me is second nature. Like I don't even think twice about it. But when it's somebody looking at it from the outside, it seems like glitz and glam, and it's like, whoa, where are we? Is this really moving?
Yeah, I think that just really, like you were saying, separating yourself from the competition is really tough right now because, and I mentioned this a little earlier, in both of our businesses, people are willing to just tell you what you want to hear to get the phone to ring or to get the business, and then they have that, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I think you and I are really well aligned in that we see ourselves as an extension of the experience for our realtors. So if a realtor is going to refer me or refer you to move their client or to finance their house, then like for me, and I know you feel the same way, we have an obligation to enhance the experience of the client so much so that they're going to want to refer their friends and family to us so that we can return the favor that realtor has given to us by giving us the opportunity to serve that client. And it kind of like, is a never-ending circle that way when everybody on the team has the same goal in mind of, the most perfect customer experience, because that ultimately does lead to more business, even if that's not the intention. If you're just trying to do the best job you possibly can, it's probably gonna, lead to that one way or another. We just are aware of what the opportunity we've been given by our referral partners, and we, do what we can to kind of return the favor.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I truly pride myself in, the real estate agents that I am working with that are sending me clients. I always think of myself and quantify myself as a real estate agent without my license, right? I know everyone's business. I know why they're moving, where they're moving to, and what they're looking at. And being able to understand that, it's cool because I position myself with as many real estate agents as I can in San Diego. Yeah. I mean, there's upwards of like 30,000 real estate agents here, right? And so if I'm in, say, downtown San Diego and I know, hey, Brandon's moving from downtown San Diego to, who knows, Oceanside. Well, I know a real estate agent that's here that could probably help him sell it, and I know one that's up there that's gonna help him find a place, right? And if I'm able to navigate that conversation and just kind of set that up, before they're even looking on the market or put their house on the market, I feel like I'm 5 steps ahead, and I can also give the real estate agent that personal touch and what I know about Brandon, right? Or whoever the client is.
Yeah, and I mean, in addition to that, I mean, you also offer services specifically that help real estate agents. Commonly I hear from realtors, I follow a lot of real estate agents too, right? We have a similar audience and partnership base, right? But I hear from realtors all the time, hey, look, you want to sell your house? Declutter that place. All your crap you got laying around, like, clean it up. Like, people that are coming through the house, like, they do want to see that it's a home, but they don't want to live in your home, right? And that's part of a service that you offer specifically to help real estate agents' clients, right?
We do, yeah. We have our declutter program, and a lot of real estate agents have used that. So what we'll come in and do is, as soon as a house is listed, we're able to come in, or even before it's listed, and take all of their personal belongings, like you said, out of the home, and we can store those for up to 2 months for our real estate partners. And now the real estate agent can come in, stage the home as they see, maybe get it more with the times now. There's so many homes I walk into, I'm like, oh, flashback to the 90s or whatever it might be, which is fine. Everyone has their own style. But we're seeing when a real estate agent is able to put their personal touch on it and stage the home as it should be, I would say, they're selling their homes at a lot higher clip, right?
Yeah.
So for me, if I'm able to help that process, it's great. And what we do, we'll take everything out, they'll stage the home, and then once the home sells, we'll come back and bring the stuff, their household goods, either back to the home or wherever their new location is for the client.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think that alone is such a value to real estate agents, because like I said, it's just a common piece of advice that I hear all the time, and I go to a lot of freaking open houses, man.
Yeah, me too.
and a good amount of them are still cluttered, like if they had that service, I'm sure that it's not like the people want it laying around. They're just like, where am I going to put this stuff? And then, are they going to pay for a storage unit and then pay to move it there and back. Like that to me sounds like an exceptional service to have, you know, like even for me to refer to clients as well. You know, we do when we get a purchase contract, or if it's new construction and we get a 30-day notice, we actually send out like basically a service to clients to help them prepare for their move and stuff, as far as like getting their cable and things set up like that. That's something now I can offer to people before they're, if they're thinking of selling their house, like, hey, before you sell your house, you know, there's this opportunity to store some of your goods to help declutter the house. It's going to help the house sell for more. And then it's like, you know, I'm adding value to them through you.
Yeah. And one of the beautiful parts we've seen a lot with a couple of clients recently is people don't know where they're going next sometimes. They're just trying to sell as the market is, right? And even before then, like try to get as much money as they can for their home, right? And in turn, I have no idea where I'm going to be moving to. So we can store it for you. Take your time, find what the place that you want to actually live in, not just to go find a place, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where we align as well. Like we actually care about our clients, right? It's not just another number. It's not just another sell.
Yeah, and I mean, doing the right thing for the client, I think, is ultra important. And speaking of like getting referrals, you know, I've gotten more referrals from people who I didn't do loans for,
Yeah.
you know, than people that I did, because usually in that situation, I've got, like we were talking a little bit earlier, and I'd like you to talk about that a bit, but like getting quotes from other people, you know, sometimes I get a quote and I'm like, hey, look, if you can really lock this rate, do it right now.
Yeah, I think you know, one thing we talked about earlier, and you could attest to this in the mortgage industry. You know, there's a lot of contracts you're dealing with, right? In my industry, there's a lot of estimates and quotes that are coming through, like you said. And one thing that I'm very open with, if a customer tells me that, hey, you know, I got a quote that's $2,000 less than yours. Oh, that's incredible. I would say, could you send that over to me if you're open to it, so I can help you look at it and see where we're at? So I had a big win the other day with a client. I did that. I walked through, and the biggest part is read that fine print, right? I think as we go through contracts, like you go buy a new car, you're like, man, I've been here for 15 hours. Like, let's just get this thing done, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, let's read that fine print, because for me, in terms of moving, these are all your personal items. Like, this is a big opportunity for your things to get from point A to point B. So I was going through the estimate with her, and you know, we were about $1,200 more on paper. Mm-hmm. And at which point, you know, I walked through every step with her, and reading through the fine print. After it was all said and done, that company would have been about $400 more than me, which is incredible, because there's all these hidden costs. And the last thing you want on your moving day is to have to fork out some money that you weren't budgeting for, right? And so that's what I pride myself in. Here's your quote. It's not going to be more than this. It might be less than this, but here's what the pinnacle looks like.
You know, there's people that are going to see the value in the work that you do and the way that you guys wrap the furniture and how, you know, you handle the moves and that sort of thing. And those are the people you want to work with. The people that just want to go with the cheapest guy and are going to roll the dice with, hey, is my stuff going to break? Is my stuff ever going to show up?
Yeah.
You know, and we talked about that too. You know, hey, I would advise you, before you do that, go on Google and search moving nightmares, search mortgage nightmares. Like, it's always the people that went with the lowest price. The price and the cost are two very big, like different things, mm-hmm. right? You could have something that's very cheap that costs you a lot.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I think that in both of our industries, that's really common. And I found it interesting that, you know, you're asking to review quotes, because that happens to me as well. People are like, oh, well, I was quoted this rate from this other bank. Okay, that first of all, that's very surprising to me, because we're competitive in rate. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to help all these families. Everybody would go with the cheaper guy, mm-hmm. right? But if you could send me the loan estimate or the fee worksheet, I'd like to see what they're offering you and what you're actually paying to get it. Are you aware that the cheapest, that the lowest rate is usually costs more? Mm-hmm. And that right there is kind of when you have an opportunity to explain what it is that makes you different, the processes that you have in place, why people choose to work with you, and why people choose to refer you, right? Like, hey, did anybody recommend those cheap guys to you?
I give them some tips on what to look for, right?
Yeah.
Like, definitely go online and get 5 quotes, get 6 quotes. I'd love for you to. And then we'll see where we stack up.
Totally. I was wondering if there's anything else kind of that specifically that we wanted to touch on while I had you here.
Just we at AQMS, you know, stoked to be here with you, first of all. Like,
Yeah.
thanks for the opportunity.
course.
A couple of things that we wanted to offer to our real estate agents. We wanted to offer a free box kit. So we'll offer 5 small, medium, and large boxes, tape and paper, that they can give to one of their potential clients that is moving.
Yeah.
Kind of start the process with everything.
That's awesome.
So stoked on that. And then we'll also, for any job that has 3 guys on it, for the first 3 guys, we'll offer the first hour for free for our clients move as well.
Oh, wow.
Which is, about a $225 value there, and happy to support there.
I think your thing is movers making moves, right?
Yes, sir.
And you are making moves. I feel like that not a lot of people are. The market is what the market is. There's ups and downs, and a lot of people roll over and die with it.
Yeah.
And I see that you're out there like grinding all the time, and it's something that I respect. And just hustling. I know the moving industry; it's not easy, and you deal with a lot of racing to zero with people just commoditizing the business and underquoting everybody just to try to steal a deal. And so to see you out there doing what you're doing and like lighting people, I just see people lit up, like, giving testimonials on your page and stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. One more time, where can everybody find you on social media?
AQMS_movers, AQMSnationalmoving.com. Or you can call me direct, 760-840-9375. I'm always available. Text message, call, whatever you need to do. I'm here to support. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate
it.
you.
Yeah. Have a good one, man.